After ICP found support on the 200-day exponential moving average on the 13th of May, we saw a bit of a surge to the upside, around 23.87%. Unfortunately, resistance was found on the 50-day simple moving average, and we saw slippage back down by 14.88%. The question on everyone's lips right now is support going to hold, and is another rally for ICP coming? Let's roll that intro and get right down into it. Hi guys, welcome to the channel. Welcome back to another ICP video update. As I get into today's video, smash that like button, guys. I really do appreciate that. Let's see if we can get up to 500 likes on today's video. If you are new to the channel, welcome. And if you haven't yet subscribed, what are you waiting for? Subscribe and stay up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Let's get right down into today's video then. So ICP paired up with the USDT. We're on the 1-day Binance chart. And of course, we are taking a look at the technical analysis here. So we did see a bit of support being found here consistently, actually. We can see we found support over here on the 13th of April, the 200-day exponential moving average. Support was also retested and found on the 12th of May. Okay, we can go back further, but you can see that we didn't really retest this area since the 21st of November 2023, right? So we've tested out the 200-day exponential moving average, and it is still currently holding as support. Now, the resistance is coming in here on the 50 exponential moving average and the 50 simple moving average, right? That's the yellow line and the blue line coming through here. This, unfortunately, is looking quite negative at the moment here for ICP, and we need to consider the potential for more slippage to the downside, meaning that we might lose the support level of the 200-day exponential moving average. And so that is going to be a big concern. We, of course, did have this downward trend line here on ICP, okay, and this is where the 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗧 really comes in. Okay, if we can draw this in and show you guys what this looks like. I'll get us on the screen, there we go. Okay, so this started up here with the most recent swing high on the 27th of March 2024, $20.98.5. We came down, we lost support of the 50 exponential moving average and 50 simple moving average. We came down and tested the 200-day exponential moving average on the 13th of April. We then rallied up and found resistance on this downward trend line. That was the 21st of April. We continued to find slippage to the downside and tested this trend line again. Let me show you this by highlighting these key areas right here. Okay, this retest was the 6th of May. We then tested again on the 15th of May, got rejected, and we finally had a breakout on the 17th of May, the 17th of May being right here. Okay, now this breakout was then retesting this trend line, right? But this trend line was resistance, has now turned into an area of support right here, and most recently here on the 23rd of May. Okay, so it looks like support is actually holding out, and we're going to be hopefully looking for a bit of a relief rally here for ICP, a bit more of a break to the upside. Now, the resistances on the 50 simple moving average and 50 exponential moving averages, I think, are likely to get broken temporarily. I do still see us with slippage to the downside, but I do think a breakout to the upside is potentially on the horizon here. If we take into consideration our previous highs on the 21st of May and the lows on the 13th of May, we take this measurement on the Fibonacci extension tool, and I would say that we're going to be targeting out a breakout towards $14.67 and $15.43. right in here. Going to remove that off there. Okay, this will be a three-wave pattern that should then look to kind of finish off in this area. Like I say, it'll be a temporary move to the upside. Unfortunately, I think after this, we're likely to see a bit of a move to the downside. Well, I still hope that we do not close lower than the 200-day exponential moving average, but we might, of course, wick lower. This move will be, again, a three-wave pattern. Let's assume that we have the worst case scenario, which will be the bottom here at $14.67. Okay, so if I take this into consideration, then we're going to be targeting out a slightly lower range here of $9.13 to then $10 flat right in here. This will also be a 3-wave pattern. Let's go ahead and remove that. And it will be a WXY pattern like this. This will then actually form a part of a bigger play. As I start to zoom out here, guys, this will start to make a little bit more sense. We can start to see that we have this one right in here. Also shows us with a little bit more slippage to the downside, which is this area that I've already marked down here, coming in at $7 to $8.30. This becomes a part of a 3-wave pattern like this, but I think we're going to fall short of that. I think we're likely to hold that $9 range. Okay, and as you can kind of see, this might be a bit complicated if you do not understand Elliott wave theory, but this is where the sentiment currently sits when it comes to ICP. Now, this can change, it can shift. This is just the current sentiment. If markets continue the way that they have been and people's behaviors continue the way that they have been, then this is the most probable outcome. Okay, and I really want to stress that that's what Elliott wave theory does. It tracks people's behavior. So if you're into psychology and you want to try to understand the behaviors of the market, you have to understand the behavior of the herd, then this is where things are likely to go. Now, behavior for the retail investor can change, it can shift. It all depends, of course, on what is happening in the market generally, right? If we see some fundamental news that the sentiment shifts from its bearish stance to a bullish stance, then we'll get breakout situations instead. And Elliott wave theory will have structures that will map according to those. But at the moment, this is the sentiment that is there, and it is showing us with potential slippage to the downside. But I'm expecting on the short time frames that we actually first rally to $14.65 to $15.42. After this, we then collapse down $10 to $9, somewhere in that range. And I hope that that area there holds so that we can then run. Now, like I said, this could just be a complete wick that just flashes down there and we still close above that 200-day exponential moving average. That would be the ideal, because it will mean that we don't have to worry terribly too much about closing lower than the 200-day EMA. Anything closing lower than the 200-day EMA will be seen more bearishly and will potentially affect the sentiment of the market in a more bearish way, and we might start to see even more slippage to the downside, hence the lower targets of around $7. So we want to avoid that if possible, right? So on our daily time frame, we have the positive that we broke out of our downward trend line, and we have turned that into a support level. We're still on support of the 200-day EMA. We'll look for a little breakout above the 50 simple moving average, 50 exponential moving average, towards that $14.65 to $15.42, after which that there is going to be the shorting opportunity. Tight stop loss probably just above that swing high on the 21st of April, and we'll target out the support of the 200 EMA to start with. Risk reward ratio will be 2.16, and we'll probably have a trailing stop so we can follow the price action if it potentially loses the 200-day EMA. Great rewards, of course, to be found on that one, but of course, I'm just a guy on YouTube. You should do your own due diligence. If you have access to a financial advisor, you should probably talk to them. I am no financial advisor. This is just my playbook and how I would approach it. Now, if I am to be leverage trading, ICP, I'm only going to do that on BitGet or Blowfin. Those are my two go-to exchanges. If you haven't yet got accounts for those, what are you waiting for? The links are in the description down below. And there's plenty of rewards and bonuses available depending on where you are around the world. More terms and conditions on all of that can be found in the description below, and also on their websites. Guys, check them out. So let's roll this up into, actually, before we do that, let's check the momentum, right? Momentum is looking interesting. We've shifted down quite a bit on ICP here on the daily stochastic RSI, but there's still lots of room to the downside. As you can see, we're not yet done. I'm expecting, like I said, little price bump to the upside and then more slippage here to the downside, getting us into the oversold area on the daily time frame, lining up more with the smaller time frames as well. If we take off the stochastic and throw on the relative strength index, you have the hidden bearish divergence. This rallies up nicely with our WY wave. I'll be looking to see whether or not we can get any bullish divergences, hidden otherwise, where we can start to see a little run to the upside there. Otherwise, everything else on the daily time frame is perfectly fine. Let's roll this up to the weekly. The weekly time frame does show us with that idea of that slippage to the downside, but I'm hopeful that we don't have that. Like I say, on the weekly time frame, we have the 50 50 exponential moving average, the blue line, and the 50 simple moving average, the yellow line, actually coming in between $10.50 on the EMA and $8.48 on the SMA. Over time, we're likely to see, I think, the 50 simple moving average fall in line with our expected range between $9 and $10, which will hopefully then complete our bearish move and then start to see a run to the upside. Now, I've put in here worst case scenario down at that $7 range for ICP, which will then project out a potential target between $53 and $85 on a macro scale. This will be an indication of a larger three-wave move on a weekly time frame to complete out a bullish market somewhere between $53 and $85. And I know that's not necessarily what a lot of people want to hear, but it's something that I think a lot of people probably need to hear. And what I mean by this is that this is a reasonable expectation to be expecting for ICP price action. I know a lot of people are going to be looking for new all-time highs or even just to go up to the previous all-time high, which would be phenomenal gains. I would not be expecting that personally. In order for ICP to have achieved what it did in those very early days, those launch days, was a perfect launch. It was launched on all the major centralized exchanges instantaneously with a small amount of supply. And well, things have changed quite significantly since then. I'm not expecting new all-time highs anytime soon for ICP, but what I am expecting is a reasonable price appreciation over time, and I am looking for $53 to $85 as a reasonable price expectation. You can let me know what your thoughts are on all of that in the comments down below. And if you have found today's video useful, smash that like button. If you're new, subscribe, and why don't you check out this video right here where we're discussing a bit more of what's going on in the crypto space.